Welcome back, guys. Unknown003 here, coming at you with another Killer Instinct character tutorial. And this time we got a Battletoads character in KI? Yeah. Pretty much, man. Yeah, we got Rash from Battletoads, of all places. And yeah, he's ready to give it a good wallop. So, honestly, in terms of the character, although all of his special moves are, believe it or not, like negative on block, which means he is pretty punishable. His most powerful traits just come from his air mobility, especially when you consider like the tongue mechanic, basically. Yeah, that's honestly where a lot of his strengths kind of come from. He does kind of quicken the pace of the fight, so with like people that aren't able to catch up, that is basically where Rash is going to be able to flourish the most. Otherwise, yeah, if you do have like a well-seasoned player who knows how to play against Rash, he is pretty, that's kind of where the flaws come in with him. But nonetheless, he is considered at least like top 6, top 7 in the game. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. But anyways, let's get into the nitty-gritty here. So first off, you got his like neutral moves here. His standard heavy punch right there is mini Superman punch. You got his kicks, medium kick. Heavy kick is pretty decent at range. Gets a little bit closer to the opponent. You can combo off of it, of course. Crouching light, crouching medium punch, crouching heavy punch. Obviously, this is kind of where the anti-air comes in. Light, medium, heavy. Pretty decent range for a crouching heavy kick. But yeah, like that's kind of the gist of it for his normals. His back heavy punch is a really quick overhead, so it is very beneficial to learn. And not to mention the fact that it is also a recapture. Yeah, just like that, man. It's pretty damn good. And yeah, for his actually, if you spam both light attacks, whether it's constant light, you kind of get that. And if you don't have meter, it just does like a standard ender. Yeah, which is kind of cool, right? And as for the standing light kick, it is pretty much the exact same thing. But if the opponent is jumping, hold on. It does immediate recapture into that. So this is sort of beginner friendly for like the new players. And then you could just dish out the damage right there, man. Like it's pretty cool to know. Like that's a lot of where the traits from his video games come from. With, you know, like constantly tapping the button to where it ultimately like knocks out an opponent and stuff. But yeah, that's the gist of his normals. That's the gist of his character trait, essentially. So let's get into his specials. So first off, you got the standard down forward punch. Just his head turns into a ram and just lunges at the opponent at full force. Pretty standard, right? You got light here, pretty decent with range, medium, and of course you got the heavy, which is pretty good with range as well. This is what the linker looks like. Here's the shadow version. And the ender of it is an exchange ender. So basically just switches the opponent to the other side of the character. Yeah, and that's basically the gist of it. If you do decide to do the shadow version of the hold on. If you do decide to do the shadow version of it, it will go through projectiles. So that is also something very important to know, especially if you are getting zoned out, because that is one of the other things that Rash lacks in his play or his gameplay is pretty much zoning. Because again, that's a lot of where the tongue kind of thing comes in. But yeah. Anyways, let's go into his other special moves. So first is going to be, or next is going to be, his down back kick. Turns into a wrecking ball. And yeah, if it is close to the wall, it is going to stagger the opponent. Do like a mini wall splat. The shadow version is pretty much the same thing. And there you go, just like that. Pretty simple. Whether you do the standard version or the shadow version, you are given a hit of armor, so if an opponent does try to like hit you and stuff, you will be invulnerable for moments. But of course, if they hit you twice, that's where your armor kind of gives away. But yeah, that's kind of the gist of this move. Not really anything too special, aside from the fact that you are given a chance to kind of punish the opponent from trying to attack you, and not to mention it does bring you slightly closer, and you can do it in the air as well. In fact, when people do this, it's more of like mobility as well. Yeah, as you can see right there, like it is pretty difficult to kind of keep up with Rash's gameplay. But anyways, that's the gist of that one. And his final special move, yes, he only has 3, which is kind of crazy, is his boot. Down forward kick, just yeets the opponent like he's the freaking field goal kicker in a football game, man. And yeah, he does have a leaker to this, funny enough. So just gotta hold it. Just marches at the opponent. Definitely one of the funnier ones. And yeah, that's basically what a shadow version looks like. Just down forward all 3 kicks. 10 hits. Really good damage. It is definitely the best damage ender that he has. And yeah, like, let me show you the standard damage ender. So there you go. Yeah, so damage ender, of course. And if you do the shadow version, it is going to be the most damaging. No surprise. Like over 50%, which is pretty wild. If you, even for such a basic combo. But yeah, like, he really doesn't have too much aside from the fact that, you know, like, the tongue is like really important to have in his gameplay because, again, mobility, trying to cross up the opponent, even like this, for example. And another important thing to know about the tongue is that you can eat projectiles. Pretty good. And he does gain some meter out of doing it, so it's not like there is no use to it at all. So very important to know. And yeah, believe it or not, that's pretty much the gist of Rash's like special moves and gimmicks and stuff aside from his instinct. So let's go ahead and get into that. So yeah, he summons the freaking speed bike from the game, or from his games. You can press up to kind of leap up in the air momentarily, which is pretty funny and pretty cool. Yeah, so it is more of a kind of like a pressure mechanic, sort of similar to Orchid's Jaguar on her instinct. You can choose to avoid it so that you can get a punish if the opponent does end up falling for it. And of course, like leaping up in the air so that they can get caught off guard by the speed bike is another important mix-up that you can do with the character. So yeah, man, that is honestly the basis of Rash here. I know it wasn't really like too much to explain, but there really isn't for him. Because again, like the gimmicks come from his usage of his wrecking ball, his usage of his like tongue attack, used for like mobility and stuff, and ultimately, in terms of like a meter reversal, honestly, that is really good on startup. And if you don't have meter for that, unfortunately, there isn't really too much that he can do aside from maybe the Wrecking Ball. But even then, the startup to that does take a bit. So that is where a little bit of where his defense crumbles. But aside from that, man, he is still a well-rounded character. Although no zoning, the tongue immediately just brings you to your opponent regardless. So he doesn't really need to zone. He's all about getting in your face and just leaving some bruises on you. So anyways, that's the basis of Rash, guys. Hopefully this was a lot easier to understand than my most recent parts. There were definitely a lot of gimmicks to the previous characters, but with Rash, he is one of the most straightforward characters in the game. You know, once you figure out how the tongue stuff works, and you learn like his mix-ups and stuff like that, he will become very good. So it's in your hands, man. But in the meantime, tune in next week. We're gonna go ahead and try out Mira, Maya's supposed sister, who is also a vampire. But until then, guys, this is Unknown003 signing out. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. Fight on, everyone. Yeah, that's his time.
I'm crashing this party! I'm crashing this party!
Ready. Fight!
These cameos are killing me!
Supreme!